SPP has a very powerful form builder that you can use to do tons of different workflows. In this video, I'm going to show you the different form types that we have and how you can use them in your agency. See, the standard thing with productized agencies is that you want to have your client pay and get them onboarded onto your system as soon as possible. And the best way to do that is to create an order form and attach it to your pricing page like so. Once the client lands on this page and they click on one of your purchase buttons, they're going to get taken to an order form like this one where they can check out. So this is a simple example of an order form built inside of SPP. But here's what it looks like in the form builder itself. You're able to build all kinds of forms with this. Multiple pages, different service selections, different payment methods, conditional logic, everything you might want on a form. So when the client picks their services, it creates an invoice and charges the invoice with their payment method, which then creates an order on the system that looks a little something like this. Now, as you see here, the order form is very simple and straightforward, and that's because if this demo had 10 other fields, it would be super tedious to fill out and would definitely decrease your conversion rates. And that's where intake forms come in, allowing us to ask for information after the client has already paid instead, once they're in the client portal. So if I go back to the admin portal from here and navigate to intake forms from the sidebar, this is where I can create intake forms. For example, this one here asks the client to fill out their project title, website, describe their persona, and a bunch of other questions. Once I've added all the fields I need to the intake form, I can either assign it to a single service, multiple services, or even an entire folder from here. And the beauty of it is if one of your services requires different information, the client can then fill out different forms for each service they purchased, giving you the right information wherever you need it. And this is what an intake form looks like from the client perspective. But if the client purchases 3 different services from you, for example, and we want to know their URL, logo, brand information, just basic stuff like that, they're going to get pretty frustrated if they have to fill out this information over and over again. The best way to improve this workflow would be to take all of those fields that you would have asked repeatedly in different forms and move them into another form type we have called an onboarding form. The way this works is clients fill out an onboarding form once and the information would get saved directly to their profile instead of a specific order, and can then later be updated at any time if any of the information changes. So if you have a request-based service, for example, where the client can just come in and submit a request whenever they want, they just have to fill their brand information once via the onboarding form and then submit just the project brief on every request. Earlier I showed you how to set up your intake forms and assign them to different services, but if I go to any service here, you'll see the intake form right here, but you'll also see a checkbox that I can check to attach an onboarding form to the service. So now, when the client purchases their service through an order form like this one, they get automatically logged into the portal and they're then asked to fill out their branding information through the onboarding form, and then for each service they purchase, they can fill out a separate intake form. And also, if the client purchases more things from you in the future, system checks if they've already filled out the onboarding form and they aren't asked to fill it out again if they already have in the past. So this is how you would use all these form types together, but there is one more form type that I want to show you, and that is contact forms. The best way to explain contact forms is that a portion of your leads or clients will not be ready to purchase right away from you through an order form, and it's not realistic to expect that everyone would be able to do that anyway, because some people require more information before they give you a bunch of money. And the best thing to do for people like this is to create a contact form and attach it to your page like the one we have here. What this does is create a ticket in the system for you to reply to, and the good thing about tickets is that they're completely separate from orders. They are very similar in the sense that you can go to it, there's a conversation, you can assign it different team members and such, but in orders you also have all this other stuff like project data, tasks, and deliverables which aren't present on tickets. So orders are for paid clients and tickets are for leads, so you can respond to their inquiries or do quote requests in case you offer bespoke services. But they can also be set up as a support widget like this one, which is also a contact form. If I go to contact forms here on the admin side of SPP, I can click on share on any one of these forms and see all the different ways that they can be embedded or linked to. The only form that you really 100% need to use is the order form. Anything else can be skipped if you don't need the information or just depending on how you'd like to store the client's information. That pretty much wraps up how you can use all the different form types that we have on SPP, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. Thanks for watching.